We're here.
I wish I could give this feeling. I wish I could give this feeling. On the corner.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Corner Podcast. I'm Kel Dansby. Very sad today. A somber Kel Dansby here, as you can see, with producer Coale Bay Bay.
Hi, Kel.
Dre is not in today. He had a busy weekend. He is on daddy duty because he spent the entire week away from home. So it's his time to take care of the little one. He'll be back on Wednesday to preview UFC pay-per-view and everything that goes on in MMA. We'll also get his thoughts on some of the boxing stuff since he isn't here today. Today, we'll recap a busy week in boxing, but producer Coale cannot take his eyes off of the non-clean.
Off the prize, Kel.
I didn't even clean them. I brought them in
They do
as
look clean.
is.
For the
all black
we've got DC
DCs.
Cam. Let's go. Look at that. Yes, for those listening, the all black DCs will be on the desk for the remainder of the show. And it's definitely a good pick me up because we are filming this on Sunday after the Celtics did lose game one, in which Kel immediately threw the smoke at me, going like, "Whoa, Giannis, huh?" And I said, "Giannis is not getting your DCs back, Kel. He can't do it." So, I guess you gotta have a little laugh at my expense
small
today.
wins.
But it's game one. We'll take it. In my best hockey coach post game interview, which I had to do that for 5 years, and all of them were this. Well, we went out there, we worked hard. Just wasn't our night out there, and I think we just gotta get those 2 points out there. There's another key 2 points out there. A couple nights from now, we'll work hard. We're gonna go practice blue line, and play our game, play fast and hard.
That's pretty accurate.
And there you go. And now copy and paste that for 5 years of coaches' interviews. Hey, Coale, go get post game sound. Okay, all right.
Same thing over and over. Today is the last day. The DCs will be seen on set. It's only right to get their final resting place on top of the desk where they have been perched so many times in their glory upon my foot. This time, though, they are empty. It's all right. I feel a little bit like Shawn Michaels before he had to super kick Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like I just feel like whispering to the DCs, like, I'm sorry.
I love you. Boom!
And then hand them over to Coale after that. So, yes, the DCs are officially retired.
Someone please, someone do either someone is going to do it or I'm going to do it and just replace Ric Flair with a DC and just have Shawn Michaels say, "I'm sorry, I love you," and kick the DC.
Yep.
I will give so many bonus likes to anyone who does that.
Oh, there's so many great edits to come with the DCs.
And Kel, I'm just gonna tease a little something. I'm not gonna say what, but DC's last time they're in the studio, last time they're here with you. This will not be the last time that on the corner feeds that the DCs will be either mentioned or seen. So stay tuned for that, everybody.
Yeah, to be continued.
To be continued.
It's called a pro tease, right?
It's called someone's had too much time on their hands and has been doing some long-term booking, and the finger poke of doom is coming. No,
I can't wait to see what happens to the DCs now that they're out of my possession. It's all bad. It's like when someone leaves, like Impact, they're a champion and they sign with WWE. It's just like, all right. Well,
yeah, I guess that's that.
That's me with the DCs today.
How long have you had these DCs? I feel like this is. Are we paying our respects to the DCs for this?
Yeah, it was only like 2 years. The gimmick's been
the gimmick.
Yeah, it has been rolling since I got them. I was randomly just in the mall and I was like, I was looking for sneakers. I don't like paying a lot of money for sneakers, and I ran up on these, and I was just like, oh, these are like on sale for $50.
Yeah.
It's like I used to love skater sneakers in high school. It's like they were comfy. I put them on. I was like, it's like floating in a cloud. Then I looked and I was like, oh, they look good on my feet. I told the wife come over. She was like, usually she's like, if I put on anything, she's like, oh, that's hideous or atrocious. She wants me to wear like, I don't know, like Aldo style sneakers.
Yeah.
Be an adult. And I'm just like, no, look at these. She's like, they don't look horrible. And I was like,
That was the license that you needed.
That's it.
Right there.
As long as she gives me the thumbs up and not like the fake Batista thumbs up to the thumbs down. Like as long as she does that.
You didn't get heat for it.
No. And I was good. And then I've worn them ever since. Dinner dates, expensive steakhouses. Dre and everyone in the Reverse Rap Pack group chat makes fun of me because I'll have like my button up on, my little like gray carpenter pants, all that nicely fitted. And then on the bottom, DCs. Those are the date night outfits. And they're like, you're just an animal, sir.
And then all the boxing events, all the MMA events.
Everything. These
the
things have
wrestling
traveled coast to coast. Internationally. We saw London.
They did.
In
fact,
their last hurrah.
In fact, I want to say their last
overseas.
trip was London.
It was.
Hey, if you got a Fury Dillian White fight, not too bad.
They've had a good time.
They have.
So it's all right. I wore it today to the studio. I wore just to piss Dre off if he's listening. I do not have the DCs on, but I have the 18-year-old flip-flops in studio. Flip-flops are older than my daughter.
Oh my God, they're older.
He hates these.
Oh my God.
Yes, he does not know how.
So
they're still
this is the
standing.
next. This is the evolution.
These will never go. I've had these since I was a junior in high school. My daughter's about to be 17, so yeah, I had these before she was born.
Do you want to bet?
No betting these. They're getting very worn down on the bottom though, and it's scaring me. Like there's no tread left. So now it's like, they're very flimsy. So these are gonna go by like boxing standards. Like these are like the old man who boxes till he's 68. These are the Evander Holyfields of flip flops. These are gonna go out fighting, baby. There is no retirement. This is Ric Flair on Twitter 2 weeks ago taking bumps with Jay Lethal.
Yeah, there you go.
These flip-flops are dying in the ring. to the end of days, these flip-flops will be around.
Just gonna be both wooing at each other. Just woo, woo, woo.
That video was amazing.
Woo! I mean, it's Ric Flair versus Ric Flair. What can you say?
Died like 4 times. He's in the ring taking just crazy, but he did a suplex at one point.
Yeah, he did. They did a scoop slam.
Scoop slam. That's what it was.
Scoop slam.
Scoop slam. Arm drag.
Arm drag.
Oh, he can still play the hits.
Number 104. Arm drag.
He can still play the hits. So man, it's been a time for the DCs, but the flip flops are still going good. I still don't own a coat.
Nope.
Didn't need one in London. Damn sure didn't need one when I came back with this weekend in Vegas.
I'm gonna say now, like, what's the next bet for Kel Dansby? What's the next thing he throws on the line? Are you going to throw anything on the line? Are you that afraid of your reputation as the bad bet machine?
My Yankees are on like a 10-game winning streak.
Oh,
you catch me next week, we might have another bet on this show next week.
Oh,
I am all in with our ace, Nasty Nestor Cortez.
Okay.
And then our number 2, Sevy. Our number 3, who's been a little lacking, Garrett Cole, coming around. Yes, Garrett Cole is our number 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying it. Michael King in the bullpen. Feeling good this season.
Definitely,
so maybe I won't give Dre the field again like I gave him last time. But usually that's how I roll with my bets. If I have confidence, Cole, you're a man of confidence.
You go big or go home. I do respect that.
That is it.
You do. You were like, all right, cool. Yeah, I am this confident in the Bucks. I mean, was there reason to be found in that? Sure. They have Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I can understand where you're going. Now, giving the options to the field is a very, that's a power move.
I didn't play history though on that because now I just found out.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has gone 1 Super Bowl, 1 non-Super Bowl appearance, 1 Super Bowl, 1 non-Super Bowl appearance, back and forth. And I picked him to go back to back, which is a problem.
Yeah.
I should have picked him this year. This
So
upcoming year, if we go with history, this is his year to go to the Super Bowl.
That's why he came back. He was like, I'm on an even year.
Yeah, every even year for like the past.
Now, granted,
12 years.
His last few runs with the Patriots, I think in that run where it was the Seahawks, it was the Eagles, and the Rams.
Maybe he only wins on even years.
That was 3 in a row.
But he only wins on even years.
He hasn't. I think other than
his first
was
like
was
03.
Was the Carolina Super Bowl and the Philly Super Bowl back to back? I can't remember. That was a while ago. Because I know
he has to have at least one.
The Rams were the first one, and then it was, like break in between there. The Bucks won, and then they beat Carolina, and then they beat Philly. I want to say those were back to back because I think it was 3 out of 4, and everyone claimed the Patriots dynasty.
It's just it's bad bet timing.
Yeah,
more than anything.
And
you don't know how mad I'm going to be if Brooklyn figures it out next year and goes to like the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
I'm going to be
right.
upset.
I mean, in that case, it was a case of overconfidence in name recognition, is what happened. It was a classic case of, I know this Kevin Durant fella, I know this Kyrie Irving fella. And I know that everybody early in the season picked them as favorites to come out.
Yeah,
and that was when they had James Harden, but now they got Ben Simmons. And I mean, I could have told you them having Ben Simmons is bad. It's a bad idea. Everybody in Philadelphia could have told you.
Listen, James Harden is not doing too much better.
No, and he's got a banged up Joel Embiid. I don't think Embiid's playing the first 2 games.
No,
so
he has a broken orbital.
Yeah, he'll throw on the bat.
Ugas.
Yeah, he's got the Ugas injury. I think he's probably going to throw on the Batman mask though. And come out for game 3 and game 4. Because right now it's also concussion. That is also.
Oh, that's also
he's in concussion protocol.
But yeah, man, it's another bet is a brewing. I feel it. I feel it deep in my plums. No, I don't know. I feel like a bet will be made maybe around AEW weekend.
Whoa!
Just because that's like the anniversary of my first official like bad bet, the handshake deal with John Moxley. So maybe another bad bet happens there.
Yeah.
Maybe not though. Maybe I want to enjoy my weekend.
Yeah.
This time, hopefully we get like a Johnny Gargano debut. Hopefully we get like some other people. Yeah, Johnny's still out there.
It'll be interesting. I mean, that event is right in our backyard here.
So you never know who's going to come through.
As you can see, I'm already getting ready for the month now that we've done the NFL draft here, which was wonderful here at the Blue Wire Studios.
All like 52 hours of coverage,
all the hours of it. But we had a lot of people come through. It was a very exciting time. And if you walked by and said hello, I say hello back. But I've got my Blackpool Combat Club sweatshirt on. Underneath here is an Adam Cole shirt, so that may break out later because it's the brand.
Yeah.
I got to go with the brand. It has Bay Bay on it.
Oh, I can't be mad at that.
So, like...
He stole it from you. We're going
correct.
with that.
No, 100%.
100%.
Yeah, you're welcome, Adam Cole. You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome.
Maybe he comes in the studio. Maybe we have like a super kick party.
I mean, look.
Winner owns Bay Bay.
Hey, he's invited anytime.
Yep.
He wants to come claim Bay Bay back. He's got to come here.
Bay Bay on a pole match.
Bay on a pole match. Judy Bagwell. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, get it. Yeah, we'll just put a contract up there and it just says Bay Bay and climb a ladder for it. Yeah, I'm all for it. That's right, I am Cole. I'm calling you out.
I like it.
That's it.
You tell him you have an extra letter. You're better. And
yeah.
yeah. Sir, you don't even have an A in your
Yeah,
code.
mine costs a little bit more on Wheel of Fortune. That's right. Yeah, that's an extra vowel you got to buy.
You're so much more valuable
Pat
to
Sajak
crossword.
ain't handing those things out for free.
Yep. Crossword puzzles. Like what?
Yeah.
An extra vowel is like invaluable.
Wait, but why is it Cole, but it's 5? No, it can't be. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yes, it is, America.
That's how you roll. So
yes, it is.
No, man, it's been, DC retirement aside, a great week here in Vegas. We had the draft. It was cool. I was in here for the little mock draft party that you guys had.
Yes.
My dad was in town. It was cool. Him, his best friend. I got to show him around, hang out. That was very fun, very exhausting.
Yeah.
Because they are like, I'm a big draft guy because my dad has always been a big draft guy. And even though it was in Radio City Music Hall forever, those two never went to a draft. So this was like their first draft, and they wanted to do everything. And I was like, cool. So if that meant standing outside, hot as a mofo around everyone at that stage, we did it.
I got to say, from looking at it afar, we had a live stream here in the Blue Wire Studios. I want to say, like, that opening that they had for, like, the stage.
Yep.
Basically, at the hour that they started that draft, the sun was going directly into it.
Completely. All on the back of your neck. There's no shade.
Oh, and then imagine, like, you're coming out to announce the pick, and you're like, with
Blinded.
the first pick, I can't read it. I can't. The sun, right?
Roger
like they
Goodell's
needed
a pro.
You know what they needed to do? They needed to get a sunglasses partner, and really brand that and be like, hey, well, you gotta go out with these Ray-Bans, these NFL draft Ray-Bans.
Get the Bret Harts going.
Ooh.
And you just put on little kids in the crowd.
As you go off stage, because you need him to read the card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put them on.
Could you imagine for 250 some odd picks? You
got to come out.
That's gonna pop. That's gonna pop Dre. That's for damn sure.
Oh, and I also wore my Shawn Michaels socks because he's the greatest of all time. So I had to. Yeah, my entire wardrobe is just today to piss off Dre. I'm wearing my friend's T-shirt. I was like, no, I can't upset people with DCs anymore.
Man, so you just heard Dre wasn't going to be here, and you were like, I can get away with all this shit.
Hoping he called in so I could just show him
we're taking checks. Maybe we'll take a picture and send it to Dre later.
Yes, but
he'll get you back somehow.
Crazy weekend, tons of boxing. Great environment here for boxing. Shout out to MSG in New York. Great environment there for boxing.
Oh, man.
Just it was, and I don't know if it was because I was in London or what the week before. I don't know. It's because I'm like moving to my new place and I had to get all of that done, let alone like having a teenage daughter and like she's doing a million different things. And this was probably my like most exhausting week of like my last 3 years. I was just like, batteries were running low.
Yeah.
All bad. So picking up the DCs today for that one last time, it gave me the fuel I needed for this.
You needed it.
Yes. I was just like, you know what? I can't let them down.
No.
If they're going out, they have to see me at the top.
That's a good point. Look at that. Look at that zoom in. Look at that.
Look at that. They'd be so proud today.
You know,
look how magnificent they look. Look at that stitching. You guys see the stitching right there in the front? I can't wait for you guys to see this. Look at this stitching. Fine craftsmanship. I don't even look at this. You can't even see the laces, baby. They're invisible. Wait until the camera pulls out.
I feel like
Once they pull the camera out,
I feel like for all this, like we need some like
can't even see laces.
We need some Boys to Men playing over there.
Look at that.
Although we come
if we had the rights,
to the end of the road.
Yeah, the Blue Wire budgets, you know, a little bit. Not enough for
not enough for that. Not enough for that. Not enough for the show. Maybe for other things later, but not for podcasts going on to YouTube and Spotify now.
No. It's all right though. People
but you can go over in your Spotify and you can like play it.
You guys can listen to the opening of last show.
Yeah,
where Dre serenaded.
Yes.
Maybe I'll just put that overlaid, him singing over this part of the DC.
Fucking DCs. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe I just laid off of that amazing close up we just had of the DCs and run his rendition back for all people to enjoy.
Yeah.
We had a good run. Thank you everyone for embracing the DCs if you did. Shout out to my boy Drip, Black Wrestling Podcast. All the droplets out there who follow Drip, who he was the number one proponent of the DCs.
Really?
He was sad to see them go. That is my guy.
Man. Because let me tell you, there were a lot of people who were happy to see him go.
A lot of people. It's all right. People were hating. It's okay.
But when you are the bad bet machine and the hot take machine, you live for this kind of heat.
Yes,
this heat's
if
your gimmick.
Anything, people cannot say that the DCs weren't over.
Oh, the DCs were over. One way or another, whether you loved them or you hated them.
The DCs were over.
They were over.
And they didn't get the run that they deserve. This is like Edge retiring on Monday Night Raw.
I don't know
It's
about
that emotional right now. These are like, it was so good. Rated R superstar. Yeah, he went babyface for a second. But Edge was such a good heel. And you're like, you know what? He has so much more left in him. That's this. You never know, though, people. You never know down the line.
You know,
What may happen. You might have to come back 10 years from now.
Hey, you know, to quote your absolute favorite wrestler, Sting. You know what they say about DCs is nothing's for sure
I like it.
when it comes to the DCs.
I like it. So,
That's all we can say.
man, we appreciate everyone for coming to the end of the DCs. I felt like it was appropriate to give them the full first segment.
Yeah,
They deserve that.
No, 100%. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And you know, it's
In memoriam.
all I can say is again, I said this the last time we were talking about it, but again, America, you're welcome.
And this is where WWE would just run the photo slate, and it'd be 2020-2022 with a picture of the DCs in all their glory.
Water. We've been hit with the fade. We've been hit with the fade shot.
Oh,
This is where the watermark now comes
on
up.
the bottom.
Yeah, watermark comes up.
Adios,
Copyright.
good friends.
Yeah.
Not adios to you guys. Don't go anywhere. We have
Yes.
so much boxing to talk about
Great boxing.
after this. Amazing boxing weekend.
Amazing.
And then Canelo fights next weekend, so we got to preview that entire card. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. The DCs will not be. All right, we are back. Time to talk a packed boxing weekend. I feel like it's only right to start with the women. One, their main event went first.
That is true.
Two, it truly shows that women's boxing is here to stay, and that for so long, and still in the minds of some, they are not equal to men in boxing, or they can't do what men can do. A star is a star. The UFC has shown this. UFC has shown this for years, over a decade now. And Dana White once famously said, no women would ever fight in this promotion. Then Ronda Rousey came. And Ronda Rousey not only fought, she headlined. Became one of the biggest sports stars in the world. She's an actor, for God's sakes. Kinda.
She is.
But she, like, you know.
Transcended the sport. Let's
Yes.
put it that way.
Multiple time WWE champion as well. So, like,
Yes.
the star power in women's fighting was seen for a long time in MMA. Chris Cyborg, we got Amanda Nunes now. Women can sell, women can fight. And boxing was long overdue. Long overdue for something of this magnitude. Yes, we had Chrissy Martin versus Layla Ali. That was a mismatch. That was one-off. And then they shunned women's boxing to the back burner until the Olympics really came around. 2012, they let women box, and it was off and running from there because now their talent's on a big stage. Promoters can then sign them, and then now we've seen the natural progression around the same exact time, I guess, as women's MMA, and it still took them like 8 years longer. So it's amazing to see what was billed as the greatest women's boxing event ever, selling out the big room at MSG. 50 years after, I believe, Ali last sold it out. This also like the 50-year anniversary of Title IX. And like, just, it wraps up so perfectly. And then we'll dive into like the nuts and bolts of the fights, I guess, in a little while. But just to see them deliver overall the battle and the quality of fight that they did, just phenomenal. It lived up to all expectations. And hardly do you have the greatest of anything ever, if you bill it that way. It's the greatest Royal Rumble, right?
Right.
Did Edge have like the greatest match ever? Him and Randy Orton.
Right.
Greatest wrestling match ever. Hardly does that ever live up to the billing. This, as the greatest women's boxing match ever, it arguably is the greatest women's boxing match ever.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where it's like, man, they showed up and showed out. Cole, you were just telling me, like, I was watching it while at the Shakur Stevenson fight versus Oscar Valdez. So I had it on my lap. I had no volume, but I was watching on my laptop and, you know, clipping and helping post content. Shout out to the entire ESPN social squad who helped me hold that down. But I was watching it, and I could feel the atmosphere. I could feel the energy with no sound, no nothing. Completely packed house. 19,000 people bought tickets to a women's boxing event. Amazing. When you were watching it, full volume, full atmosphere, what was your takeaways from the auxiliary parts of this matchup?
It was unbelievable. It was the stage was the appropriate amount of grand for it. It felt like a big event. It felt like a big fight. And a lot of this, I think, has to do with, I mean, this is not to like be like, you know, the American crowds aren't quite as excited, but the fact that it was countries that were able to kind of get involved here. Well, not countries, Puerto Rico, but Puerto Rico was there in full capacity.
Shout out to my New Yorkers. Hey.
Ireland was there. Announcers kept saying 50-50. It was about 60-40, I think, for the Irish fans. It felt like a World Cup soccer match. It's really what it felt like. I mean, everybody was fucking singing the whole night, and and even in like the build up to it, like the 20 minutes before, like Sweet Caroline played, and the whole crowd unified in that.
Cole, you
It's
know
crazy.
my hatred of Sweet Caroline.
I know, but I'm just telling you, I'm giving you an idea of what this like. I'm pretty sure Oasis happened at some point, and
Okay.
everyone sang Oasis.
I
as
heard
well.
19,000 sing it at the Fury fight. It adds to an environment.
Yeah,
I may now only hate the song at Red Sox events.
It's.
No, I still hate the song. I can't lie.
I
despise this song.
yeah. I mean, yes. Just the crowd was insane. It was nuts, and the entrances felt grand. Where I feel like boxing misses a lot of opportunities with, and I know Dre is very adamant about this. Like they miss opportunities for the showmanship for an entrance. Everything is pro wrestling. Pro wrestling entrances, they do those things for a reason because the crowd is just as excited to see someone enter the ring as they are to watch them fight in a wrestling match. Like that's part of the entertainment. It's part of the character. And yeah, I mean, you could tell both Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor were just so awestruck by the moment, and they were obviously expressing in two different ways. Like, you know, Katie was very much trying to just stay in the zone, but she took a long time to get to the ring, and like her song was a little bit slower too, but she took a long time getting to the ring. You could tell she was just soaking it all in. I mean, the whole crowd is singing along. Amanda Serrano is very expressive.
Yeah.
And you could just see just a big smile on her face the whole time. And like from beginning to end, she was like she was like, this is everything I could ever dream for.
This is what you work for.
This is everything. And I mean, just even adding to it, adding off to the side of it. I mean, I think we have to bring him up. Jake Paul.
He adds a ton to the promotion.
And Jake Paul, every time he was brought up, like he was booed. He doesn't care.
No, that's his job.
And I want to just say, like, kudos to him. He did an excellent job all night. He was amazing at just like, he never made it about him.
Yeah.
He understood that people were going to make it about him. And in any of the answers of his questions, you know, of like questions to him, you know, he was like, yeah, I'm getting booed. That's great. But he really made it all about Amanda Serrano. It was like, this is Serrano's night. This is, you know, her chance to make history. This is great. He actually joined commentary for a bit, and he was great on commentary. He did it for the co-main event, and you could tell like he genuinely is like he's in this sport. Like this is not a sideshow. If anyone was convinced that it was a sideshow, still like he's in this.
Before we get to like the boxing match, because you bring that up, right? And people have this like dislike of Jake Paul. And granted, this is early. This is one person, Amanda Serrano.
Yes.
He just signed like another young kid, but it's one person. But women's boxing was not selling out 19,000 seats. Regardless of who you put in there. Eddie Hearn is great. He knows the business aspects. He's done it for men's boxing and all this stuff. Katie Taylor wasn't selling out MSG versus anyone, or Amanda Serrano without Jake Paul in the promotion.
Nope.
No way near.
Nope.
This never happens without him.
Correct.
I then asked, because people do hate on him so much, and I'm the opposite of now Jake Paul the promoter and Jake Paul the boxer. I don't even mind Jake Paul the boxer. He's not taking money out of anyone's mouth. He's not fighting real boxers. Like, he's only benefiting
He's
stuff.
only
like,
generating interest in the sport.
yeah, like there's a
To a
whole
whole
new wave
new
of
demographic.
kids. Yeah, because boxing 2 years ago was 50 plus demo. Like now the demo skews 16 through 24. Is the highest demo of boxing fans right now.
Now the kids are TikToking being at the boxing events.
Boxing events, them boxing, slap boxing is back. Shout out to all my people who grew up slap boxing in school. That's back. Just these viral clips. Like everyone wants to do a body shot challenge, and on our TikTok it goes crazy. Everyone's on the little arcade boxing machines. Everyone wants to try to get like 999 and like break the high score
Right.
On the punch machine. So it's one of those things where it's like, man, it's boxing feels reinvigorated, and a lot is because of Jake Paul. And it's not because Jake Paul the fighter. It's because Jake Paul the promoter and how he promoted himself. He promoted himself like he promoted his YouTube. And it works. He was like, I can transition the same logic to this sport, because everyone's independent contractors like YouTube, and do the exact same thing. And it's like, lo and behold, it works. And then he was like, yeah, you know what? You think it's just me, because I did come in with the following, right? I'm going to partner with Amanda Serrano, who doesn't have this following, who's one of the all-time greats in women's boxing, wasn't selling a thing. Last year, she fought on like the equivalent of like a combate card. Like she fought on a card where you can only get it in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and like 3 parts of Mexico. I had to track down this footage. So tough. Last year, maybe 300 people watched that fight that I know of. This year, everyone watched this fight. And he said, I'm going to show you that I can inject my exact same type of philosophy as a promoter and make her a star. He did.
He did.
Why can't he do it when in boxing we allow Oscar De La Hoya to do it? When in boxing we allow Floyd Mayweather to do it. I'm not talking OGs, right? I'm not talking Arum. I'm not talking Eddie Hearn to a degree, because his father promoted fight. Like Eddie Hearn's second gen in all this, right? Like Sky Sports, everything. Like Eddie Hearn is next level. So he was born into that. So I'm not talking them, the promoters. But the new wave of like TMT, Golden Boy, who's had an incredible stable. Why can't Jake Paul be that? Because I'd argue right now, if Jake Paul signed Ryan Garcia, Ryan would be bigger than he is on Golden Boy. I'd argue if Jake Paul signed Gervonta after he was done with Mayweather, and they've done great with his career, but he's not a viral sensation. He's still like he's the Hood's fighter. That's really what it, like the Hood's with him. But I think Jake Paul could take him and make him different than that. I think Jake Paul, along with his partnership with Steven Espinoza, Showtime, Nikisa running the back end stuff, who was chief financial officer for UFC, making sure people get their money. I'd argue if you're a boxer 20 through 24, you should probably sign with Jake Paul. If you're not signing with Top Rank, if you're not signing with Matchroom out the gate, I might sign with Jake Paul over PBC, because we're both on Showtime at this point.
Right.
Like, Jake Paul will put me on Showtime on his cards, and I can have my own Showtime cards. That relationship is pretty solid. Like, if Jake Paul has a stable, I'm sure Showtime will be like, yes, Jake, bring your whole stable here. So I would sign with Jake Paul over PBC and Al Heyman.
I think it's I think it's an expectation of like, oh, you're a boxer, you're going to be promoted as a boxer, right? And where
Flawed logic now.
And where Jake Paul has changed the game is he's like, no, I gained my popularity a different way, and I'm about to inject this into your sport.
Yep.
So, of course, you're going to have the people who are very resistant to change. They're very old school. They're going to be the first line going, no, 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 no. You can't come in here. This is the old boys club.
Yep.
You can't come in. You can't come in here with that.
What's funny is
who's gonna wanna watch a YouTuber fight? Guess what? Those fights were doing better.
incredible.
They were
Incredible
doing.
numbers.
They were gaining more. Like, were they getting pay-per-view buys? No, because they weren't pay-per-views. But they would they're gonna generate buzz in the 18 to 25 demographic,
Yep.
which is a demographic that boxing is nowhere close to. But guess what? Everybody loves. Everybody loves an 18 to 25 demographic if they're trying to sell products. So
Every time.
every time that wins. 18 to 25. It's gold.
Yep.
And this is where Jake Paul has come in. I think it's interesting you mentioned Ryan Garcia. There was a point in the night that they were interviewed together.
Yes.
And immediately I went,
It would
that's
make sense.
interesting. And if I'm Golden Boy, I might be looking at that and going, uh-oh.
Yeah. In
'Cause
like a year's time, I think Ryan signed for it.
Ryan was there
An insane
front
amount
row
of fights.
seat, and he got to watch that crowd.
Yeah. It's one of those things
That
where
was a commercial for Jake Paul.
it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, well, we don't like a traditional guy, right? We want the traditional guy, traditional promoter. We haven't had that in years. I'm not going to say Don King was traditional promoter, but he kind of was. The closest we have to that now is, Al Heyman's older. Jay Prince. Jay Prince isn't the traditional promoter. Guys rap a lot records.
Yeah. And there's
Jay
a whole
Prince is
there's
the
a whole
nicest-
nother there's a whole nother
nicest
well
carrier,
documented
yes.
documented persona there.
We'll talk about this later about the Shakur Stevenson fight and Jay Prince. This man's cool as a cucumber. But really, the new promoters doing something in the business who aren't 60-year-olds old plus or from a lineage 60-year-old plus. Sorry, Eddie Hearn, but you're like trust fund kid in this. And I love Eddie Hearn as a promoter. But you were grandfathered in, let's say. So all the new promoters, Jay Prince came from rap, hip-hop. It was just like, yo, I like boxing. I'm going to do what I did in rap. And now he has Shakur Stevenson. Big Baby, Jared Anderson, who looks like he's going to be the next great heavyweight. It's with Jay Prince. We saw Troy Isley last night with Jay Prince. Jay Prince's stable is deep in boxing. So he's going to be that guy. He's trying to be Al Heyman.
Yeah, well, and
in which he could be for the next generation.
We've seen the promoter stunts fail. We've seen people try to get into the game and it just doesn't quite work.
Even then, like Floyd wasn't the traditional
Yeah.
boxer. Oscar wasn't a traditional boxer. They were mainstream guys.
Yeah.
Oscar was doing telenovelas in Mexico.
Right.
He was always the golden boy and like, everyone's like, he's too pretty and he's worried about He has an album like with boleros and he's like singing horribly. Like Oscar was always trying to do more. Floyd was always doing more. The money gimmick and traveling and the jets and everything. He sold that to no one who is a successful promoter today under the age of 50 is normal. Traditional promoters anymore.
Yeah.
There's no lawyers.
No.
Who's going to be your promotional guy and help you with anything. James Prince helps you because Kanye comes and sits at your fights because the baby can walk you out. We'll talk about Shakur. And like when Quavo walked him out before then, his list and his respect in hip hop has these kids like, oh, all these hip hop guys are coming to my fights.
Yeah.
All the people I listen to are attainable. Now we're in the same circles. Because Jay Prince ended the Kanye and Pusha T beef for the phone call. Like
It's all about the crossover appeal.
that's it. And Floyd has the Jets and the TV stuff, and he has the crossover appeal, so young kids sign with him. De La Hoya, to a degree, when Canelo was coming up and Ryan Garcia, even in the Mexican-American community, he still has that cachet.
Yeah.
And you can get on stuff. If you're in Mexico, you're getting on every channel you want.
Right.
If Oscar De La Hoya is your promoter. Like, he's Floyd to you.
Yeah.
Yo, you want to be on, like, I don't know what's the new Don Francisco, whatever show it is, where the girls wear, like, tiny bikinis and rubbing their little dances and all that. You want to be on that? De La Hoya could probably get you on that. So you'll sign with him. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, man, the traditional promoters, haven't been here for years.
Yeah.
2 decades plus. They are gone.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul is as good as you can arguably get with the new age promoters.
And it's
You know,
not. And
Jay
it's not
Prince
like
aside.
he. I mean, I guess in a way, the way he changed the game is that he's fighting, but
They all had to fight a little.
But well, he's fighting and now promoting at the
Yeah.
same time, right? But the thing is like he didn't come into this. He didn't come into this for fun. He came into this being like, no. I'm going to take this seriously, and I'm going to make something out of this. This may have looked like a stunt early on. This is no longer a stunt, and I think his longevity, no matter what happens to him, you know, in the ring from this point on, like, he's a commodity, and he's going to stay that way, just based on his ability to generate interest, no matter what. And people will celebrate when he falls, and they'll keep hating him when he's rising. But like it doesn't bother him.
Nope.
It doesn't bother him.
He's built to be the heel.
He is.
And it takes a tremendous amount of heat off of his fighters.
Yeah.
Like, Amanda's pretty calm and cool because, like, there was no heat on her leading into this fight. He did the heavy lifting. He's like, just go out there and do what you do, Amanda.
And even then, it didn't have to change Amanda Serrano.
Nope.
Serrano's still the
no
same
trash
character.
talk at all between her and Katie
No.
Taylor. None but respect. Generated a huge buzz during fight week. He takes that responsibility off of you. And you just get to go out there, and as long as you can fight
Yes.
and deliver in the ring, because you can't go out there and be boring necessarily.
You got to be a certain type.
Yeah. Ryan Garcia is that type.
That's why I
You're not gonna be a
immediately.
boring
That's
fight.
why I immediately went, huh?
Yep. So
That's interesting, Ryan.
you look at stuff like that, and it's just like, man, Jake has a future in this.
Yes, he does.
And I think he's found his next career. We could be talking about Jake Paul, who is, 25 years old or something stupid? We could be talking about Jake Paul for the next 30 years in boxing.
Never know.
So it's funny because he's trying to sign boxers now, right? Maybe established boxers like still Jake Paul, whatever. But when you get the next Ryan Garcia, when you get the next, young kid who sees this, the young kids who get into boxing, who are into TikTok, who are into all that, when it comes time to sign, after they go to the Olympics, or after they turn 18, and Jake Paul's now 30, 35, they grew up on Jake. He may have the upper hand over everyone because he might have made them boxing fans.
Right.
And they might go to Jake first. So we think Jake is hot now. Jake, the promoter, in 10 years is going to be signing his fans, which could be the cream of the crop.
You know, it is going to be wild to see it play out. But Ryan makes a lot
of sense for right now.
A lot of sense. But anyways,
And a Showtime partnership with Ryan Garcia, there's a lot of people to fight on Showtime.
you know.
Listen, that Gervonta fight becomes a lot easier.
But the fight itself.
So we're in it. We're here. First off, the face-off is amazing in the ring.
Was just so pure. Brought so much joy to my heart.
Touch gloves. They go to their corners. And we are in for 20 minutes of straight action.
Yes.
Katie Taylor shows what Katie Taylor does best. Katie Taylor does not have power. She doesn't. That movement, the ability to get in and out, to know when to punch, when not to punch. She takes some, but she gives more than she takes. Was on full display in the first 3 rounds, in my opinion. First 3. And I was like, Serrano can't solve the puzzle. 4th round comes. The power comes in. And I don't know if Katie got tired or what the adjustment was from Amanda. She cuts off the ring, and they start slugging it out against the ropes. For the next 4 rounds, it's Amanda Serrano's power display. 4 through 7. Rocks Katie Taylor in the 5th. Saved by the bell. We'll get to that. Saved by the bell in the 5th. Rocks Katie Taylor in the 7th. Like, oh, this is about to end. She's getting stopped. Amanda Serrano, in my opinion, gasses.
Yep.
8th round rolls around. Katie Taylor's like, oh, she can't cut off the ring like she was these past 4 rounds. Let me get back to business. I'm not out of here. and she puts on a masterclass of movement, footwork, does some Fury-esque tactics, if I say so myself. A lot of body leaning. So Amanda now gets in close, and where they were engaging before, Katie wraps her up, body leans on her, walks her back to the ropes, then gets the space and, gets her stuff off. And Amanda's like, damn. Katie did an amazing job in round 8, 9, and 10 of not letting the ref break the clinch.
Yes.
She clinched, walked Amanda, because Amanda's smaller, walked her against the ropes, broke the clinch herself, and let off on Amanda every time the clinch was broke. And Amanda didn't defend herself getting out of the clinch. So a lot of Katie's punches that landed clean were hold, let you go when I want to let go, 3-piece. Move around. Okay, you want to close the gap? Hold, let you go. And Amanda had no solution for that. Rounds 8, 9, and 10. Close fight. It goes to the cards. Katie wins a split decision.
Yep.
Which, Amanda and her card that was given to her, she was up like 7-3 in those rounds. But then Katie won 7-3, and then 6-4, I believe, was the other one. So it was just like, all right, it was a close fight all around. In my opinion, I had a 6-4 Katie. I could be okay with 5-5 draw. To me, the third round was the swing round. So I give Serrano 4 through 7. I give Katie 1 and 2 easy. I give Katie 8 through 10 easy. So Katie got 5. 10 they were both swinging it out, but Katie had incredible momentum. I think Serrano ended up outlanding Katie in the 10th.
That was so cool.
One of the best rounds you ever see in boxing is that round 10.
That last 10 seconds. It's the dream. Okay, they're just gonna both get in there and just start swinging. And it was like they both agreed. They were like, "Yep, you're doing it. I'm doing it."
That last 10 seconds, regardless of how the cards played out, was so important.
Yes,
because it left everyone wanting more.
Yep.
Regardless of who won, and even Katie wins, split decision. She doesn't have to take a rematch. She proved everything she needed to prove. Who else is going to help you sell out? 19,000. I loved Eddie, and Eddie Hearn is so smart. First thing he says is, I want to do it again, but I want to do it in Ireland. And then Katie's like, yeah, let's go to Croke Park. You want to go outdoors, 60,000. Croke Park, Ireland, soccer stadium. Sign me up. Where do I book my ticket? You think 19,000? There's no Puerto Ricans at Croke Park. Puerto Ricans don't know where Ireland are. There's going to be 60,000 Irish. And Amanda going into hostile territory, I don't want to overplay this, right? Because there's lofty comparisons. And I'll let you talk about, the fight itself. But while we're on, the topic, if this goes to Croke Park, this becomes Ali Frazier. This becomes what Ali Frazier won was the greatest fight of all time. I think it was the nickname or whatever. Then you get Rumble in the Jungle.
I was going to say, I almost think Rumble in the Jungle might be
more iconic.
Yeah.
That's their Rumble in the Jungle.
That's their Rumble in the Jungle.
That's the women's Rumble in the Jungle, Croke Park. And if Amanda wins, because again, Ali didn't win the first. That's what built the intrigue at MSG, by the way. Then they go Rumble in the Jungle somewhere else. Oh, now you get 60,000 Irish. If for any reason she overcomes that and Amanda wins, now you're 1-1 on hostile territory. You can put the third wherever you want. You damn near sell out Allegiant if you come to Vegas. If for any reason you want to go somewhere, you go get that Dubai bag and they might both get 20 mil. Which is Floyd Mayweather levels for women's boxing. That's the equivalent of Floyd Pacquiao getting 250 and 150. 20 mil each for women's boxing. They just broke $1 million on this. They're happy as hell. Each. I think Katie might have got 1.5. So you do that, and it's just now we're getting, and now DAZN has pay-per-view.
Right.
So the next one's a DAZN pay-per-view. This one's free. Now y'all paying for this next one.
Yeah.
Plus Croke Park. This could be the Ali Frazier trilogy for women's boxing. And people might be like, blasphemy. But I think it aligns. It has that potential.
It's unprecedented in women's boxing.
It has that potential to me.
There's what else is there to compare it to? Like that's the thing is like where else do you this is the top of the top. It was the greatest women's fight of all time. There's just no question about it. Just based off of scene and what was at stake and the promotion of it.
Yep.
And the money that goes into it. It's to me, it's fight of the year so far.
Oh, no.
To me.
I mean, the stakes are so high, so I understand. It's been a long time since I've seen something like Catterall's last fight, him versus Mick Conlon.
I mean, that was pretty good too.
Him being dead to rights, coming back in the 12th round.
Dude falling out the ring.
Knocking Mick Conlon out of the ring, out. Out.
Yeah. To be clear, that is definitely like so far my knockout of the year, 100%.
100%.
I think it's absolutely. I think it's going to end that way.
I think it might be my fight of the year, knockout of the year. It's going to be hard to move that.
Yeah.
But
and we were here when that we were all sitting here when that fight was ending. That was crazy.
Insane. This being in the States, being on a bigger platform, everything might edge it for a lot of people.
And who knows? Well, they're talking about fighting later this year. So
no, yeah, you run this immediately.
Yeah, maybe the fight of the year is the next one. I don't know.
If Amanda knocks her out in front of 60,000 of her hometown fans, that'd be the craziest shit ever.
I mean, yeah, listen, I think part of it is just like I think it's the whole presentation and everything that goes into it. I mean, the fight itself was amazing, but it's just like to take in that atmosphere and clearly like watching it on their faces how much this meant to them. It felt like an occasion, and then the occasion delivered. And I think that's why I voted that way. But yeah, I think going back to the fight, it would have been 6-4, either of them, or a draw. I think that is pretty much the consensus. I think depending on who you talk to, someone saw. It seems like everyone saw it a little bit of a different way, but
I think Dre might have had 6-4 Amanda.
I think so. Yes.
I didn't see Amanda getting 6, but I
think one of those. I think it's those first 3 rounds that get tricky.
And she outlanded Katie in the 10th.
Mannix on the broadcast had in those first 3 rounds had 2-1 Serrano, I believe. So he was giving 2 to Serrano. I was looking online. I'm seeing people give all 3 to Katie Taylor.
Yep.
All those first 3 rounds were really. It was until that moment that Katie got trapped in that corner and decided I'm going to trade with Amanda Serrano, and she went into that corner looking all fine. She came out dazed,
disheveled,
confused, bleeding profusely from her nose. And it was like it was like, where did you go? Like, did you go into like the time warp? What happened, Katie? Holy shit.
She went to a place she'll never go again.
And it was like, oh my God. Like it was truly that moment of, oh my God, this is gonna happen. And like, she's falling forward. And I mean, no matter how you view the final scorecard, it is amazing to me how Katie was able to dig out of that. What heart.
Yeah,
like the fact that she was able to not only come back to her senses, but fight even better as the fight went on, and
not touching the canvas is huge.
Not touching the canvas
because anyone else touches the canvas at least.
Well, and in the scorecards, she touches the canvas there. We're not talking about this. We're not talking about
fight
this.
Over.
I mean, she might even get up, but we're not talking about Taylor winning this fight.
Yep. With that being said, this is the biggest case for 3-minute rounds for women. You don't got to go 12. I would argue, if you want to keep it 2-minute rounds, you at least got to go 12.
12-2 or 10-3.
10-3. If in the 5th or 7th round, Amanda Serrano has 3 minutes, this fight's over.
That's what I was thinking.
It doesn't benefit Katie. So in a rematch, we're not going to see 3-minute rounds.
No.
The 3 minutes does not benefit the person without power. The person without power, in this case, holds all the cards now. She is not changing.
Here's the reverse argument, because again, like if it is going to be 3-minute rounds or 12 rounds, you're training differently too. You're training for
your body will be built up for it. Yeah.
So that's where I could see a case being made for both of them, right? Because Serrano, after unloading on Katie Taylor there in the middle and having her dead to rights, she also gassed out.
Yep. So
now imagine 2 more rounds or four longer rounds of Serrano being tired, and maybe we're talking about Katie Taylor won that decisively.
Yeah, or Katie might
It really
stop
could
her
swing
via
either
exhaustion.
way. I can't think of a scenario where I'm like, okay, like that favors Serrano more than Taylor. I don't know. It could go
Even
both ways.
2-minute rounds. If you had rounds 11 and 12 in that fight,
Yeah,
Serrano outlanded Katie in the 10th.
yeah.
What happens if Serrano outlands her again in 11? And then in the 12th, we have that stretch.
There's so many what ifs.
Oh,
I want to know.
women's I just know this is a time, and this, again, we're talking Ali Frazier. We're talking those classics. This is that moment in women's boxing where it may not change the rules for this trilogy.
Yeah,
This is going to change the rules going forward.
yeah. And
The women are going to say, I sell out 19,000 seats.
Yeah.
I can do pay-per-view. I can do all this. There's no reason I should be fighting any other rules than men.
Yeah.
Because at this point, our pay is creeping. Our venues are sold out. Our fan bases are equal, if not surpassing 90% of the men out there. Because best believe, I've been to legit world championship fight, pound for pound fighters. I was at this Loma fight, whatever the last Loma fight. He's not selling out 19,000 at the Garden.
Nope.
Some of your best fighters out are not selling out 19,000 at the Garden. So, shout out to Mike Rothstein on ESPN. Amazing article. If you guys have time, go read it. It's on his Twitter. I retweeted it from ESPN Ringside, breaking down why women don't have 3-minute rounds or 12-minute title fights. And it's literally everyone has caved except for the WBC. And you can't roll until the 4 sanctioned bodies link up.
yeah,
And Mauricio Sulaiman is the only one holding on to that prehistoric idea, which is odd because the WBC does a lot of other wildly dumb shit that people say don't do. This is where you draw the line in the sand? How about your million belts?
yeah.
So it's crazy. I think more of the public understands the WBC's role, the more we can put the pressure on them.
Yeah.
The more we're going to see change. But listen, change is coming.
Yeah. Last thing I will say about the fight is that I know like Katie doesn't know a rematch, doesn't have to, she doesn't want to. Why would you fight anybody else?
There's no bigger money.
Why would you fight anybody?
there's no
Plus for her, like, and all they were talking about, how it was like, well, she wasn't as motivated for her other fights, which is why people are thinking she lost the stuff. She just fought someone neck and neck.
Yep.
And she's got to know it that like,
And
I did win, but like,
I was in for it for a second.
but like shit, like why else would you fight anybody else?
No one's giving you that payday. No one's setting up your future.
Nope.
Now you're the clear A side.
Yep.
You were so you're going to take 60-40, probably cash out at a $4 million payday. Especially with the 60,000 people in your hometown. You get a little bit of the gate, put on DAZN pay-per-view, you get pay-per-view points. You could get 5-6 mil. Dillian White just got 8 million as a B-side in Europe. You can get 5, Amanda can get 3, we can roll. Like, that's a pretty cheap fight for what you're going to deliver.
All I gotta say is like, where do I buy my ticket?
Yep.
I'm
It'll
ready.
be on BT Sport pay-per-view.
I haven't been to Ireland yet. I'm going.
Like,
Oh, sign me up.
Cole, I'll get a 2-bedroom.
Let's fucking
And then
go.
you crash with me.
Let's go. I'll do video for ESPN. I'll do whatever you want.
Man, it's going to be an incredible
What a fight.
atmosphere and fight. So I can't wait to see that. The other fight here, Vegas, Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. First off, not just because I work for ESPN, not because I was just at that fight. Shout out to Top Rank and Matchroom DAZN for understanding what fans want, understanding the moment.
And it turned into a amazing night for boxing.
Staggering the main events.
Yes.
Letting people see both. None of it is on. I mean, DAZN is paid, but like, you'll find somebody with a DAZN code. Like,
We got a spectacle and a star being born.
yeah, like it's $20. Like you crew up, one person got to 20.
Yeah.
And you guys go share. I think it's 3 people per an account. Like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So people watch that.
No one had to buy a
The other one-
$70 pay-per-view.
Other ones on ESPN for free.
Exactly.
If you're double dipping, you got them both on. Amazing card put on by Top Rank. There was all finishes until the main event. That's how you keep people happy. That's good matchmaking. Sometimes, yes, we do want to see super highly competitive matchups. Sometimes you give people what they want.
especially when you're on ESPN for your cable subscription.
That's
Give the people what they want.
Shout out to Jalen Rose. Yeah, like you do that. You're piggybacking off the NFL draft. You know you got the eyes on you. Everyone showed out. Nico Ali Walsh is getting a lot better. A lot better. That knockout was phenomenal.
He gone.
And people are like, oh, wait, this guy's more than a gimmick. Like, people are now
shout
like,
out to Nico Ali Walsh, who has been in the Blue Wire studio as well.
Yes, Kronk Jim, baby. Kronk's resurgence it's incredible. So that Kronk power is real. You want some power? You know where to go. So Sugar Hill's about to cash out on everything. Keyshawn Davis is going to be a star of the future. I mean, what he did in the Olympics, he's been training with Shakur since he was like 16. That kid has all the talent in the world. 135 is still stacked. I would love to see him against the likes of Devin Haney, these other guys. They're going to be gone in like 140, 147. He'll be at 135 for a while. Shakur will be at 130 for a while. They're not fighting each other. That's damn sure. But
what, Keyshawn and Shakur? Or?
Yeah, and Shakur. They're never fighting each other.
Okay, I thought we were going to talk Shakur Haney for a little bit, but
no.
We haven't got
Shakur Haney will happen.
I was going to say, yeah.
No. But by the time Keyshawn
Yeah.
works his way into the title picture, even though they're fast tracking him,
Indeed.
those belts will be vacated by someone. If Haney wins twice against Kambosos, he's vacating, going to 140. We're getting busy. Like that's going to be like he's forcing his way into a title at 140 and figuring that out. Him and Teofimo are on a crash course before anything. Gervonta will be up there in no time. Ryan Garcia will be up there in no time. So Keyshawn will probably be the next wave at 135, while Shakur clears out 130, and they'll just run that together, and then Keyshawn will move up to 140 when everyone else moves up to 147, and Shakur will move up to 135 and clear that out. So it's one of those things where they're parallel careers, but he looks phenomenal. He's going to keep growing. Abdullah Mason, 18 years old on the undercard. Also, that kid has all the skills in the world. So Top Rank really put their best foot forward on Saturday night. But the main event, honestly, didn't go any different than I thought. Shakur is just a different level of fighter. And Valdez was great against Burchelt. Maybe Burchelt's not who we thought he was. But Oscar Valdez in his other fights lately have been looking a little shaky, especially last September, where he just barely eked out a victory over Consenso. Shakur Stevenson was just a different level. And when he didn't want to be hit, he wasn't getting hit. When he wanted to mix it up, he was giving 3 to take 1. And I posted a stat graphic on Ringside earlier today. His career punching total, he has 1,716 punches landed. His opponents have 576. He's over 67% in terms of landing when his opponents are at 33. He's tripling his opponents in every punch throw.
Is that good?
Like, his defensive numbers right now at 24 years old through, I don't know, he's at 16 fights or something, have trounced Floyd Mayweather's in that same period of time. Same age, same everything. They dwarf Mayweather's defensive numbers. And we consider Mayweather one of the greatest all time. We go back to, and it was a different time, of course, but we go back to Sweet Pea coming out of the Olympics. Closer, still not Shakur level. Willie Pep, we can't go back to Willie Pep. We don't know, no one knows Willie Pep's defensive stats like that. No CompuBox. But Willie Pep is amazing. He's a wizard. I'm not sure he defensively what Shakur Stevenson is. And you mentioned this to me before we got in here to the studio. He's starting to get power. He's starting to get pop. People are now fearing getting punched by him. The next 6 years for him, Top Rank got to do right by him. I think they do right by him for the first time for a young talent throughout his entire career because Jay Prince is there.
Yeah.
And Jay Prince is not going to let anything else falter. That partnership, arguably to me, and I said this to Dre before, is the best thing Bob Arum has done in the past 5 years. Because understanding I am an old white guy, lawyer, who understands the business probably better than anyone else in the sport. But I was cool when Ali was cool. I was decently young enough when Mayweather
There's
and De La
room
Hoya
for
were
evolution.
cool. Yeah, I need someone that understands cool.
Yeah.
I need someone that understands these fighters because I can't connect with them. Now I'm just a Godfather. You know, like the Godfather had people. Like, you know, you're not running the streets. So like you got to have your right hand man. You got to have all. And Jay Prince understood this is my way into big time boxing, and it's a perfect symbiotic relationship.
Yep.
And with that, I think Shakur ends up getting everything that Bud Crawford wished he did.
Yeah.
Bud didn't have that backing. Floyd had Leonard, but Leonard wasn't Jay Prince. He didn't have that backing. He had to go get that backing with Al Heyman. You know, like they had to build that. This is an in-house Al Heyman. Floyd would have never left if he had an in-house Al Heyman
Right.
at Top Rank.
Right.
All these young kids signing, they're good now because they're like, not only do I trust Bob in the business aspect, ESPN deal is huge, all this stuff. But we got Jay to make us really cool in the streets, to make us really cool amongst our people, to understand us and understand that we're cool. Hip-hop's cool. And we get to bring that to the forefront. Because if we're keeping a buck, like no ESPN's not giving James Prince Bob Arum's deal. Like you're not making that when maybe you make it with a black guy, but you're not making it maybe. But you're definitely not making it with James Prince. Like the history behind James Prince. So you can't really sell that to execs.
The character that is
Yeah.
Jay Prince.
But you got to sell him to execs. You sell Bob to execs. You sell this lineage, 50 years of top-ranked boxing to execs. But really all your biggest stars now are with this guy. So it's the perfect relationship. So sky's the limit for Shakur Stevenson. Oscar Valdez had nothing for him.
Shakur was unbelievable. He just was like he walked. You know how a fight went when the two guys they walked in. One guy looks a little different at the end of the fight, and one guy looks just like he just got there. Shakur looked like he didn't even break a sweat.
My man proposed.
He
looked
proposed,
like it was amazing.
He looked great. He was having the night of his
Fresh.
of his life. I mean, presser aside, because
Yes.
shit went down there. But I mean, what else can you say about Shakur Stevenson? Like the hype is real.
He's the real deal.
He is the real deal. And yeah, those like if anyone was wondering if he had power, like it didn't look like Valdez was that comfortable going in there. And those punches were precise. And that was the Floyd book to success, right? Which is that incredible defense and that incredible agility. But every punch that Floyd threw was with precision. It didn't need to hurt.
Nope.
It just needed to be precise. And
We saw against Jamel Herring. If you can't take the volume, you will be stopped.
You will be stopped.
And Valdez is just, we knew how. The biggest quality Valdez showed last night was his toughness. He ain't have shit else for Shakur. But he was tough enough where he was never going to quit.
Yeah.
And he was able to take a punch. Shakur's next 2 years are interesting because he wants to be undisputed. He wants to be undisputed in the way Canelo is undisputed, which is the way Errol Spence is trying to be undisputed, which is I want to go and take every belt off every champion.
All the belts.
All the belts. So he got two. But he doesn't want the other two champions to fight each other. He wants to be the one to take the belts off of each of them.
Yeah.
That's going to take some time. Makes it a lot harder.
But he's taking names.
Yeah, so I
And
think
he really seemingly enjoys all these things.
Yeah.
He enjoy it. Like that's the thing that you can see the passion just flow off of Shakur Stevenson. And I think that's what's like obviously like loving what you do is great, but like you can tell like he lives for this.
Yep. So,
He's not distracted by anything else. This is all he wants.
I say his 2 years, the next 2 years consist of mandatories aside, in which I think Bob and Top Rank could like finagle the mandatories.
I hope they can.
I think he goes and gets the third title from the kid who's a free agent. The other champion is with Matchroom and just won it at the Shakur Stevenson fight. So he'll go and get one title off of him in his next fight. So he'll be a 3 unified champion. By the way, none of them are the fighters that Oscar Valdez is. So he'll go and get the belt off of him. And then he'll have to defend against the mandatory. You got to do this fairly quick. So if you do that in September, that leaves December, probably the MSG show, which Lomachenko usually does. But I think that would be Shakur and you go with a mandatory, and I think Bob and Top Rank tried to make Nakathila, who's the 126-pound champion, Shakur's mandatory for one of those belts, whichever one is the mandatory up first, and Nakathila, and that's one hell of a test for Shakur. And Nakathila is very big for 126 and even 130. So you try to solve that puzzle. I think he does. And then you roll back out like next May and have him fight for the other title to become undisputed. And you hope by that time Matchroom is able to maybe put the belt on someone at 130 that's just a little bit more name recognition.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a PBC guy comes and takes it off him, and then like Leo Santa Cruz is looming. I know he just went down to 126 and he wants to defend his title down there, but it'd be great if he can grab that, like, just a name.
Just somebody.
Yeah, instead of, just peppering in there. And then I think Shakur is undisputed by next May. And next September, next October, I'm not saying he has to move up permanently. Next September, not next October, was that 2023? We have Shakur versus Lomachenko. And that's the next star-making fight.
Do you think it would be Lomachenko with belts, or is it Devin Haney?
Honestly, Lomachenko, and I feel bad for him because, the man's at war, right? Like,
there's a lot of factors that go into all this.
It's circumstance.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever going to get to become undisputed champion due to that. I think Kambosos would have given him a shot. He would be Kambosos. He would have been undisputed.
And that's where we were.
But I don't think Haney and Loma ever get to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think Haney, let's say Haney wins. He beats Kambosos, which is a tall task in Australia. He beats Kambosos in Australia. The rematch is then again in Australia in October, September, October. He beats him again. I think he vacates, and his third fight for Top Rank is a 140-pound title fight. Because once you have all the belts, you become mandatory challenger at whatever belt you want when you move up.
And there's nowhere to, there's no reason for you to stay. Yeah,
he's a big boy. Yeah. Move. And then that would then disperse all the belts.
So the timeline doesn't quite line up.
No, Loma might have 2 belts.
Yeah.
But at that point, it's not even about belts.
Well, either way,
Keyshawn will probably grab one of the vacants.
Shakur Loma, Shakur Haney.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
Valdez might move up, try to grab a vacant by then.
Yeah.
We have, plenty of people at 135. Gervonta is already named a mandatory.
Okay.
So he has to get his title shot within the next 12 months.
I was going to say Tank or Ryan could still be there.
Yeah, so Tank was named mandatory last month. So by next April, he has to get his shot. So if there's an undisputed champion, he's fighting for all the belts. I'm thinking they dissolve them, and he's just fighting for the one belt when they are dissolved. I think Tank goes for I think it's WBA. I think he's that champion by that time. Hell, if Tank can get 2, and Loma can get 2 by next summer, maybe they fight before Shakur even gets the chance to fight Loma. Dispersing the belts get very, very crazy.
Sky's the limit for Shakur. That's all I.
Yeah, but
whatever he wants to do, he's going to go out and get it.
Yep,
There's no doubt in my mind.
If he wants to go up faster, he could. And Devin Haney beats Kambosos twice. They could be like, yo, let's just get on at 135. I'm not vacating my 130 belts, but I could be undisputed champion at 135 right now. So it's plenty of options for him moving forward. So I can't wait to see how that all plays out. You alluded to the press conference. I don't got to rain on the kid's parade. Like his mom had an altercation outside. Seems as though 2 women started a problem with his mother.
Someone goes after your mom, you drop everything you're doing. I don't blame him.
Yeah, so mid press conference, I guess he heard his mom's voice. Someone yelled to him like, "Oh, your mom's into something out here." Reports are sketchy. There's some video, but even that's sketchy. But that 2 women tried to fight Shakur's mom, which led to security breaking them apart. Security was handsy with everyone involved, and that's when Shakur's camp got into it with security. Like, do you know who you're touching?
Yeah, don't touch mom.
Yeah, and then they started kind of mollywopping security a little bit, And then it was security versus Shakur's camp, and then everything got calmed down and settled down. So it's the highs and lows of boxing. That's the highs and lows of Newark, New Jersey, a place where Cole knows very well.
Yes.
It could be the greatest day of your life, and it could be the scariest night of your life
Indeed.
at the same damn time. So that is Newark in a nutshell. We
Strange
experienced all
things
that.
are afoot at the path station.
That is it. By the way, real quick before we go to break, James Prince went out there. There was a line of security, another line of security. When everything broke out, Shakur ran out on the stage. James Prince in French. Like, motherfucker, I've seen a million of these. Like, people could have been shooting. He didn't care. Stone cold. Then,
Just chilling.
when everyone's trying to get, like, settled, they put Shakur and his family, like, in the side room, and shit is still kind of hectic out there. James Prince walks out, walks past the first line of security, past the long-ass line of security, second lines of MGM security, stands in front of all of them where all the hecticness is, and people are still talking shit. He stands in front, just him and his ice, no security, no nothing. Just stands in front, everything calms down. By himself. Like $1 million worth of jewelry on.
There's a
Smiling. When I tell you, everyone cleared out. There wasn't a peep, not a church mouse left in that fucking food court area. And he's just standing. Security, it took him 20 minutes to calm shit down. He got out there, everybody's like, oh, I'm out.
he's like Candyman. He's like a boogeyman. He's got an aura.
Untouchable. Yeah,
He's got the aura.
That's it. The man got the glow.
He stands and it's and just everything.
That's Omar's coming. That's like he just whistled out of the presser and people just dispersed. Like, no, that man is on a different level of things.
Boy, I think we all strive to be able to have that kind of presence.
His power is next level.
That is next level.
Let's hit the break. It's been a long ass show, but we're gonna wrap up real quick with some Canelo talk. I guess the old man will join us on Wednesday to really fully preview it. But me and Cole will just give our early thoughts on Canelo. We won't break down the fight, I guess. We'll give thoughts on Canelo and what his year will look like, and then we'll cover it again on Wednesday. So don't go anywhere. Be right back after this. All right, it's time to wrap all of this up by talking about Canelo fighting on DAZN pay-per-view, first DAZN pay-per-view ever. Their whole motto is that pay-per-view is dead. And then now it's dead for everyone except for Canelo because we got to pay him a buttload of money. So we are officially kicking off Canelo week. And again, like I said before the break, we're not going to dive into all the nitty-gritty. We'll save that for Wednesday and kind of mix that into our MMA coverage and everything. But I do want to say he's going for his first belt. Not even sure his first belt. Second belt at 175. So him versus Bivol. And looking at this, he's already undisputed at 168. Did it in 1 year. Phenomenal. Not too many 4-belt undisputed champions. If he, for any reason, which doesn't look like, I lie. In 1 calendar year, he can do it. If he goes undisputed at 175 in a calendar year, he's approaching top 10, top 5 category all time. Because I think now, and he had an amazing quote like last week. He was like, I'm in my prime. He was like, honestly, I'm not being cocky. I feel like I'm unbeatable. And I'm starting to think he is.
I mean, it sure looks like it. I mean, obviously we don't want to, we won't necessarily dive super deep on this, but is there a path to victory for Bivol here against Canelo?
All right, so Canelo obviously does not have his light heavyweight title anymore. I guess he beat up and vacated that a long time ago. Champions are Joe Smith Jr., Artur Beterbiev has 2 belts. Those 2 fight June 18th, MSG, on Top Rank ESPN.
Yeah.
And then Bivol has the WBA, which Canelo's challenging for.
We're seeing the roadmap here.
Yes. No. There's no. Size?
Yes.
But we've seen Canelo
But
solve
Canelo
the size
also
puzzle
hits.
already.
He hits like a truck, no matter how big the guy is.
Yeah, we've seen him solve the size puzzle.
Yeah.
So, what else are you bringing here? Are you faster than him, like a Mayweather?
Yeah.
Like maybe a Lara was?
So I guess maybe the more appropriate question here is, what kind of Canelo fight are we going to get? Is this one where Canelo goes, right out the gate and puts the pressure on, or is it more of a classic kind of Canelo fight where takes his time, kind of gauging his opponent? The opponent gains maybe a couple rounds here and there, kind of like his last fight, Caleb Plant, like where it's a bit of an assessing the situation, and then like round 4 or 5 shows up and Canelo just goes, all right, cool, I'm Canelo Alvarez, and just starts putting on a clinic from that point on. What do you think?
I don't think Bivol's a slick enough fighter. He's not Caleb Plant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily sure he's as slick as Billy Joe Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
Callum Smith was one hell of a fighter, but he just got beat up. I think it's more like that. Callum Smith had all the same measurables we're about to see with Bivol. Callum Smith was a big boy. He had like 7-inch height advantage over Canelo. Canelo walked him down from the opening moment, beat the hell out of his arms. Callum Smith couldn't find the opportunity to throw back, and Canelo just wore him down. Yeah, it wasn't a stoppage, but it was 12 rounds of just beating the hell out of him. I think we see that. I think Canelo 10 rounds to 2. Like, I don't see those, like, let me give him respect and figure out the angles I got to get to really punish him and all, which he had to do. Like, he understood, like, oh, I need to hit Billy Joe Saunders with a series of uppercuts. Oh, well, Caleb Plant, I have to go around his guard because he is very slick and keeps that type guard, and took him rounds to, like, figure that out, and then finally broke him down later on in the fight. No, I think, as Mayweather says, straight up and down, no special effects. Bivol doesn't have any slickness to his game. He's going to stand in front of you. He's going to try to trade, and I'm not going to see him getting the angles on Canelo. And it might be paralysis by analysis. He's looking, and Canelo's feeding him punches. And we'll see how long his jaw lasts.
Yeah.
So we're going to watch the slow, methodical breakdown of a human being. That's what Saturday's
and
going to be.
And to be fair, Canelo has done that to many
a fighter.
This is not a slight on Bivol. It is just simply welcome to the biggest of big leagues here.
It gets interesting because we'll see how Artur Beterbiev looks against Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr. has surprised me. I picked him to lose against several folks, but he keeps winning. If he beats Artur Beterbiev, color me surprised. But I have Beterbiev winning that fight, and that's a guy who's very much so in the same stylistic vein as Triple G, where granite chin, no, I'm not dancing. I'm walking you down, constant pressure. You're going to eat punches, but so am I, and neither of us going to fold. And at that size and that weight, Beterbiev has hands like stone. We're going to see Canelo's jaw tested for the first time since that Triple G fight.
So the roadmap looks Bivol, Triple G, right? Because they have to still fulfill
September. Yeah,
they're still fulfilling that. They're doing their qualifiers.
Yes,
as Triple G won his, and now Canelo has to win this. And then after that, it's Beterbiev?
No, I'll tell you why. Because with Canelo being a free agent, nothing says that ESPN and Top Rank have to be in a rush to co-promote this fight with DAZN and Matchroom. Canelo just signed a 3-fight deal with Matchroom, taking him through December. So that fight theoretically would be December, but it would have to be co-promoted between ESPN and Matchroom. For what? When we can fully promote a fight, right?
Right.
On ESPN pay-per-view exclusively, pay Canelo whatever the hell he wants. You have Canelo on ESPN. We can ask Canelo to sign a two-fight deal on ESPN. Sweeten the pot or something. Have the biggest star in boxing, all to ourselves. And I say ourselves because I work for ESPN. But I don't think we see that fight in December for those reasons. I think the winner of Joe Smith, Beterbiev, in November, knocks off a mandatory for one of the belts. You have 3 belts. Not hard to find a mandatory.
Someone gonna want the belts? Probably.
Yeah, like one of these mandatories will fight you, so you stay active until next May, Cinco de Mayo. You know Canelo's fighting. That's when we see him chase. It's an exact calendar year to collect all the titles. I think next December, and his team is quick, and they, Reynoso already planted the seeds, and he got what he wanted. When you become a mandatory challenger, for those like listening, and boxing can get confusing, when one of the 4 sanctioning bodies names you mandatory challenger, you are that for 18 months. And you have 18 months for them to give you a title shot. Or the champion has to vacate. In January of last year, Eddie Reynoso went to the WBC meetings and asked for Canelo to become mandatory challenger for Maris Bredis. Oh, no, excuse me, not Bredis. He wants to fight Jake Paul for that title. For Makabu,
Yes, that's right.
WBC, Ulunga Makabu,
Yes.
who didn't have a mandatory challenger, promoted by Don King. Eddie Reynoso went to the meetings. So I want Canelo to be mandatory challenger for that 200-pound cruiserweight title.
Correct.
WBC, and the squad over there was just like, you know what? Sure.
It's Canelo.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want, Canelo.
People thought he was next. Doesn't have to be next.
18 months.
He has to be within 18 months. Let's push it through next June. So you got a 3-fight deal on DAZN. Triple G. All right, ESPN doesn't want to co-promote. You are, for 18 months, mandatory challenger for that belt. I'm sure at this point, there's not a bigger fight for Don King on any of his fighters. He'll partner with DAZN. I feel like Canelo fights Makabu next December for a 200-pound title, making him a 5-division champion, one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time. And then he goes for undisputed on ESPN, whatever, next year, come May, Cinco de Mayo weekend, definitely here in Vegas because it's Top Rank. And has a Canelo fight, and then maybe they sign him to one more, and that's when shit gets weird. Because there's no one else really in the ESPN stable, right, that's worthy of Canelo. Really, there's not many other people in the world yet worthy of Canelo. The best thing after that would go Showtime, David Benavidez, Charlos, all this stuff, right? Canelo would have to go over there to get his next challenges. So how do you sell out a September 13th Mexican Independence Day fight
Okay.
if ESPN signs Canelo to a 2-fight deal?
Okay.
To make that happen, should get real weird. There's a certain 36-year-old, about to be 37, younger than Triple G, younger than Better BF, who was an analyst for ESPN, who was on the desk, who's never been undisputed champion at 175, who, if you give enough time and enough warning, could probably dust off the shoes. Why wouldn't you go to Andre Ward? Say, you know what? You retired real early. You were a promotional free agent. Yo, Dre, all the belts are here. All of them. You're a Hall of Famer already. Unbeaten. But if you can beat Canelo, unstoppable, and become undisputed champion, what does that do for your legacy? Let's get weird.
Interesting.
Let's get weird.
Well, if you want to get weird, you know who's probably looking at that spot too. Jake.
That's very weird.
It's really weird, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you're looking at like Jake Paul needs a dead period.
That would be the fight after. Let's say we get really weird. And it's Jake Paul Canelo. Canelo signed the 1-fight deal with ESPN. That's September 13th. Him and Jake would have to fight for that WBC Makabu 200-pound championship. Because Jake is 190.
Yeah.
So you pull it off of that
It
title.
opens the door, right?
WBC is sanctioning that shit.
The deal being here, like,
you want to
again,
get a man
like,
killed on national television, but that's fair.
But
If you win, I'm with it.
Look, you don't have to tell me twice. But like Jake he's already planting seeds.
That's the biggest pay-per-view of all time.
It's going to be pretty fucking huge. There's no doubt about it. But like that's the thing is like if Canelo's run out of fighters and then by that point, I mean like Canelo is belt hunting as we know.
There's no more belt.
But there's no more belts for him to get.
You could clear out 200, or for any reason Tyson Fury really retires, Usyk could come back down to 205.
Could do that.
Or 200 catch weight. But
that's way down and that's why I say
Showtime has Benavidez if you want to go and like Benavidez at one point was 230 pounds, like fat boy.
Yeah.
Like he cut down, like he can move up to 175. Like say Benavidez, Canelo's forced to vacate 168. They're not going to just let you be undisputed at 175 and 168.
No.
After Triple G, he's probably forced to vacate.
Yes, I would agree.
So it's one of those things where like,
but like you're saying, I mean, we're pulling out a retired guy at the ESPN set who's already
weird.
a Hall of Famer, and then we're pulling out Jake Paul. So like
we're getting weird. We're at that point of Canelo Alvarez, and he's 32.
And that said, like again, this is wild speculation. None of us are going to say that that's going to happen. In fact, maybe just the hot take machine is just
we're rolling.
Maybe it's just bleeding over onto this side. But I only say it because Jake Paul is trying to manifest it.
Yeah,
he has spoken openly about wanting to fight Canelo Alvarez. Whether that's a good idea or not, it doesn't matter. Jake Paul understands that again. I know what's going to sell tickets and get money.
If he can beat Tommy Fury, if he can then beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., common opponent. Canelo just beat that guy like 4 years ago. A whole different Chavez Jr. But still, if he could beat those two legit boxers, air quotes, why not? You can get ranked. All it takes is being ranked.
It just takes Jake to win a couple of those fights for them to have no reason to say no.
Yeah.
Even if they're like, all right, dude, you're going to get your ass kicked. But like
Conor McGregor was sanctioned against Floyd.
Correct. That's the point, right?
We'll figure this shit out.
Exactly. just Jake has to keep winning. That's all that has to happen. Like Jake,
2 fights.
Jake has to beat Tommy Fury.
He has to stay the hell away from Anderson Silva.
And not get wrapped into Anderson Silva because Anderson Silva will kill him.
Yes. No, that's
that is a bona fide bad dude.
No. Yeah. Stay away from him. Fight the guy he beat.
Well, yeah, it's like Jake's got power. Like he went against a UFC champion and
maybe Mike Tyson in the
knocked him out cold.
Yeah, maybe he could beat up Mike Tyson. I mean, he ain't gonna beat up Mike Tyson, but maybe he can just survive and like
the point being like once you get that far down the road, and if things go the way that they can go, and especially with Canelo opening up the 200-pound belt, like the door
you get weird.
There is an avenue where it's like people are gonna like when he said it was like that could never happen. Guess what? There is an avenue. It's gonna take a lot of work to get there, but it also and it's also gonna have to take Canelo's also gonna have to say yes to that. And it's like is Canelo at that point done belt hunting, or is he still going legacy fights?
Does he belt hunt at 200?
Did he get Andre Ward out of retirement?
I think you can.
You think he can?
As an undisputed champion. And that fight on ESPN Plus pay-per-view, I think you can. I think that's the one.
I don't know. Andre looks pretty comfortable, in his little remote set.
Andre likes money.
Who doesn't?
If you can guarantee Fury level purses, if you drop 30 on Andre,
I don't.
80 on Canelo, now we're getting somewhere.
But you know what's going to get more money? Jake.
But that's Showtime. I mean, ESPN doesn't have those means.
Yeah.
So it's like an ESPN, go for the gusto.
Fair.
Showtime got plenty of gusto. Again, they have the Charlo bros. They have Benavidez. They have people he can beat up. They have Jake. He got some options. The zone is running out of options in Matchroom. This might be their last year.
The roads are way far out there. But I'm just telling you, I feel like there is a potential point of convergence if a lot of things go right.
Exactly.
And that's not necessarily to say on the Canelo end, because I don't think I worry so much on the Canelo end. It's more Jake slips up somewhere.
Yep.
But because Canelo is he's kind of unbeatable right now.
Yeah, hands down. So now it's just who makes the most money against him.
Interesting to see.
Who makes the most money to get beat up.
You want to get beat up? You want to get beat up?
That's it.
Hey, you want to get beat up?
That's the point
this
where
is the John Cena U.S. title open challenge.
Canelo. You look, honestly, Canelo's 31, about to be 32.
Yeah.
Triple G's 38, about to be 39, running through people still. Beterbiev is 38, about to be 39, running through people still. That means you got 7 more years of Canelo. Like,
In the words of Kevin Garnett, anything is possible.
It's going to be incredible to see and to watch the development of Canelo Alvarez over the next couple of years. So he's just getting started. He's just hitting his prime. So that's scary to think about. We appreciate everyone sticking around for this long show, man. It was a lot to talk about, but it was a big weekend.
It was.
And we had the retirement
Yes, put them back up
of
there.
these bad boys, my friends, putting the DCs back on the table for the last time. As we go out of here, we appreciate everyone. Make sure you follow us on social media at Corner Podcast _ on Twitter, at Corner Club for Life on Instagram. Me at Kel Dansby, him at Coltrane, COALE, on all platforms. Thank you, Blue Wire Studios here at the Wynn Resort in Las Vegas. Shout out to everyone in the booth holding it down. I see
Antoine and
on the boards.
Nestor.
Nestor on the boards. Nestor is now Nasty Nestor. After,
Nasty Nestor.
Yeah, after my favorite pitcher on the Yankees right now. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Until next time, the DCs won't be here, but we will.
Yeah, I think what you got to do before you give the full out, I think you. I was gonna say we all walk off, but I think you gotta just stand here, look towards the screen, do a little Undertaker. We're gonna turn the lights out
Turn the lights
before
out.
you say that.
We appreciate you guys. Until next time, we are out.
Baby.